Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I am Asia Hill, Customer Success Manager in the Federal Civilian Space, and I am joined by Brian Jenkins from American Red Cross, who is a project manager on the telephony transformation that they're doing over at ARC. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Asia, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining today.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'd love for us to have a quick chat about the engagement that you've noticed with the customer success unit at Microsoft. I guess specifically, I'm talking about myself
hmm
and how we're working with you to support American Red Cross in the adoption of Skype. Before I jump into that, can you just give us a quick introduction into your role at American Red Cross?
Sure. My name is Brian Junkins. I'm the project manager on the telephone transformation project, where we are going around to 460 sites across the country, replacing legacy phone systems with Skype phones.
Wow, that seems like a pretty big undertaking, Brian.
Yeah, it is. Team's working hard.
Yeah, nice. So before you got engaged with us at Microsoft on change management and adoption, what was your understanding of just that change management, customer success before engaging with Microsoft?
I didn't have a lot of experience with it. I had been through ITIL training, so I did have some understanding of customer satisfaction, engagement, but coming from the data center, not a lot of engagement with users. Microsoft's been very helpful with that.
Nice. And so would you say that you've had any new level of customer engagement now that you've been engaged with us in terms of this project?
Yes, so we are reaching out to our users with surveys to try and get some feedback on how we're doing with the deployment. Also, the Microsoft launch, Microsoft's helping us interact with the users to help build excitement for the Skype phones and the transformations at their site.
Nice. And is that something that has not previously been done at Red Cross?
No, this is the first time we've used kind of a launch experience for the users at their sites. When we've done these transformations in the past, or whether it's network or telephones, it's just been kind of like, here's your new phone system, it's coming, but never really giving the users an opportunity to touch and experience the new phones before they go live.
Nice. And what's the feedback been post the launch that you've done and that's been new of that hasn't been there on previous projects?
Yeah, the Microsoft launch has been very well received by the users. That's some of the most positive feedback that we have received at that site for the transformation. They really liked having the phones there. We had a couple of training sessions set up that were short, interactive, that helped to get users ready for their new phones.
Nice, nice. Glad we were able to support you in that way.
Mhm.
So for your previous projects, had you applied any change management strategies before engaging with us?
Yeah, so my background before this project has primarily been in the data center, and so we have had change management processes that we followed. Those change management processes have been more based around systems and less around people. So that is something that is evolving here at Red Cross, trying to get more engagement from the users and get them using the new technologies.
Yeah, you know what, Brian, I'll tell you, you are not unique in that. As I look across the industry, there's definitely a differing opinion on how you define change management. For us at Microsoft, it is clearly a focus on the end user and helping the end user adopt the behaviors that are required to move from a current state into the transitional state. And because that change happens at a very individual level, we have to be there to support the end users, the individuals, Mary, John, and Sue, on their adoption of these technologies before we can get to the transformational state. And what we notice is if we don't do that, we don't do change at a very individual level, we have this sort of Swiss cheese model where there are gaps in change, where maybe Mary, John, and Sue change, but Jose, Rebecca, and James don't change. And because of that, with those holes in the adoption, the organization as a whole can't transform. And so what you notice with us going on site, really being there to support the individuals as they start to think about what will this change mean to me, is truly impactful to making sure that you get to the end goal of your transformation.
Yeah, definitely need buy-in from those end users. They can stifle that change if they're not on board.
Absolutely, absolutely. So can you share a little bit of kind of how you're working with us? You talked about the launch, but from your perspective, how are you working and engaging with your CSM today?
We have weekly meetings with them where we talk about how the project's going. We look at areas of concern, and if there are problems, resources are brought in to help resolve those issues promptly and to keep the project moving forward.
Nice, nice. Is there anything that you've learned through this process of working with your CSM?
Yeah, that you guys are here to help. And that's really helpful for me, knowing that we have partners that are invested in our success as well. And having your resources available to help us resolve the issues is very helpful.
Awesome, fantastic. And then have you noticed a difference between the current projects that you're working on now with the CSM engaged versus the projects in the past where customer success has not been engaged? Have you noticed a difference in adoption of the technology when you do have a CSM engaged?
Yes. So since the deployment of the training tools Microsoft introduced to us, we have seen a significant increase in Skype and Office 365 activity. Having that available for the users to access training and see the new technologies has been very helpful.
Yeah, and the training tool that you're talking about is Brainstorm. And Brainstorm actually did a study where they looked at the users that were engaged and active in that Brainstorm learning tool versus the users that were not active and engaged in the learning tool. And they saw a significant increase of the technology usage of the Brainstorm users versus the use of users that were not. I don't have the number offhand, but I think it's something significant, like 40% increase of usage with users that are using the learning tools versus users that are not. So great for you to call that out and see that the learning tools make a big impact in actual adoption of the technology.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything different about working on this project versus other projects you've worked on in the past?
Well, yes, the change management processes that we are employing here, working more with the individual users at the sites. Again, my past is from the data center and from a network transformation project that we went through earlier here at Red Cross. So I didn't have a lot of direct dealing with the users like I do on this project.
Nice, nice. Well, you shared so much with us in just a few minutes, Brian. Are there any other insights that you'd like to bring people's awareness to with working with the CSU?
Yeah, don't be afraid. Our job is to embrace change. So.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks so much for that. And for those of you listening, a few of the things that I took away from this conversation with Brian is that there's definitely an increase in usage and adoption when there is training tools available for the users. Definitely need to have a focus on individual change and how the individuals change and adapt to the technologies, and a launch or some sort of excitement around your transformational change is something that end users are interested to and can help them with their adoption. With that, thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate the time. And I'm so fortunate to work with such a great partner in American Red Cross and helping you do all the great work you do for our country. So thank you.
No, thank you, Asia. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.